Hi, do you like comics? That means you're gay. No. Hi, do you like comics? And Ashley Wood. This is a book of Ashley Wood. Well, kind of. It's called Doomed. It's a bunch of artists doing horror comics, all in black and white, published in 2007. I think it's like a half like a throwback to like old school EC horror comics, that sort of thing, but with modern contemporary comic book artists and illustrators all putting their own spin on these old horror stories. I think it was compiled and like planned and curated by Ashley Wood. He does a lot of that. A real artist's artist, you know. Got everyone together and was like, hey, you do this story, you do this story, you do this story. Put them together and published them, I think, in like smaller volumes, and this is the collected edition. I think, based on zero research, I think that's what it was. And Ashley Wood did like covers for it, as well as other artists, obviously. Look at that. That's fucking good. A handful of them, 4 specifically, are by Ashley Wood. Frankly, some of the better stories, not just in terms of how they're illustrated, but I think Ashley Wood might have kept the best stories for himself. And illustrated them very, very well. So let's start by taking a look. Blood Sun. I did a video of this. I'd read the story ages and ages ago, and I saw it illustrated in here. And when I did my illustration video, I purposely didn't look back in this because I thought I'd be too heavily influenced by it. So I tried to keep my head empty. But I think some of this might have still gone in. But that's not about me. I'm just saying I don't copy all the time. I copy a lot, but I don't copy all the time. Blood Sun, Ashley Wood. Straight away, one of the first things to notice is he's using some kind of brush pen. Lots of quick, basic strokes, no fine cross-hatching, no noodling, as they call it, not really much detail, quick outlines of people, and lots of use of this tone. I believe it's digitally put in to the thing, and it gives tone. He uses that to great effect. The tone is, there's black and there's white and there's the tone, and all 3 of those things are equally important in Ashley Wood's comics within this book, and I guess in general he's done other comics as well, but definitely in here. A lot of comics can be black and white, very, very cool, well done, well drawn, and then the tone you can throw in, take it or leave it, but in here it's really, really well used. So yeah, quickness is key with Ashley Wood. Also, the black background, because it's a very dark tale about a boy who gets obsessed with Dracula, and he's almost he seems vampirific or something in his physical composition, and then he ends up trying to set a bat free from the zoo, and it turns out to be like Dracula or whatever. But it's black borders. The actual comic panels themselves don't necessarily have borders. Obviously, this is one big border, but you'll see that later on in more of the Ashley Wood. But quickness is key. I think I read somewhere in an interview how Ashley Wood said that that's one of the sort of fundamentals for him, is that you read a comic book very quickly. There's, apart from fucking Watchmen or something, it takes hours and hours and hours to read. You can read a comic in general really, really quick. So while it's nice to have panels and pages that are laboured over, that you've taken hours upon hours and days to draw every detail and make it all nice, in practical terms, you only need the basics, which is what Ashley Wood does perfectly. So that's one of the main things I take away from Ashley Wood comics, is his simplicity. Minimalism is like in art, you take it or leave it. Sometimes it's really, really good, sometimes it's absolute bullshit. But in terms of Ashley Wood's comic book creation, it's perfect. Like this the family at home at a dinner table, that's all you need. You don't need the background, because you can see it's the family at home in silhouette as well, and you've got like the dad's glasses popped out. It's perfect. And this is him in school. You've got him in school, so it says he's in school, so you don't there's not a lot of detail there. But you know, the sky with the tone, and then the silhouetted body against the thing, and like literally all of it is just the most basic, like library shelves. That's fucking cool. I mean, Ashley Wood's a killer artist anyway in terms of like composition and building an image. He knows what he's doing. It's all the black, brilliant. Using that to feed into this panel of arches with the window with the tone cut out for the moon, which allows for the silhouette of the bat. That's fucking good, man. And then the tone in the arches, so they're grey rather than white, so they're held back, which again helps the moon pop out even more so. He's really quite clever, is old Mr. Woodley Woodington Woodruff. I don't really know if there's much more I can say. This panel, this will come up again. Very stark contrast. Black borders, and then suddenly, bam! Something serious has happened. I believe that's when his mother throws the copy of Dracula away. That's a serious thing, and that, you know, means gets him to bend his mum's arm back and shit, and go through the trash to find Dracula. He's in school. She goes to the zoo to see the bat. It's all in shadow, all at night, and again with the tone and the just enough of the body. That's like blocky brush strokes just to show there is a body here, and the cutouts in the tone, just giving just enough light, and the window is perfect with pure white there, and the few little panels. Really something. It's really smart. And then, as I said, with the black around the edge of the page, and then suddenly here, that's when he frees the vampire bat, and the vampire bat attacks him, and he's like, oh shit, and he collapses. But then, whoomph, Dracula himself, who was the bat, grabs him up, picks him up, and says, my son. And that's in white, so it's like the light at the end of the tunnel almost, where it's all, you know, black and darkness, and then suddenly this harsh white panel being the end. That's really cool. Very cool, like messy panels, no rulers used, just drawing quickly, get the information on the page, and it's got energy to it. And this story, it feels very sort of like energetic. There's a lot of adrenaline to it. So him using those kinds of brushstrokes and things really work for that strip. That's the end of that one. There's this one's what's his name? Ted McKeever. He's really cool. But we're not looking at that. The next Ashley Wood one. Get out of here. Bagged. This is about vampires. Open up. I mean, this is like a cool little, like, this is Miss Doomed or whatever. His chick character heading up the book, like the Crypt Keeper, I guess, but like this book's version. That's a cool splash panel opening. Perfectly sets the scene. Again with the grey tones and the black, and then the white just popping in there brilliantly. No panel borders. No panel borders. Which you'd think, like, oh, you need to, you know, delineate the different panels, but you absolutely don't. He uses the tone and everything, and just the drawings themselves, just to obviously, and having this one slightly offset, so it's not just like a line here and then a panel and a panel. This one goes here, and then this is down. Brilliant. And then the white cut into the tone for the lighting. Ashley Wood's brilliant with the lighting in his paintings and drawings and everything. So yeah, there's some, like, I don't know, fucking SAS people hunting vampires and shit. I mean, that's pretty standard silhouette of a cemetery. And then with the tone and the whites, and then this, like, it's just so well drawn, little splats and shit, little bits of tone in there just for emphasis. Not even emphasis, but just helping, just a little bit of body just coming out of the main silhouette of the drawing. And then no panel borders, but like a square of those dots, of those tone dots, to act as the panel borders. And there's a really cool, I like, as seen in the previous one, he uses little panels quite a lot. So there's, you know, the big establishing shot. And this is almost like an Evil Dead and Shaun of the Dead, where they have that quick, like, of things happening, the quick edits, quick cuts to, like, quick actions happening of, like, showing vampire killing weapons, steak, some kind of holy water spray or something. Oh, garlic and aerosol cans. Weapons with silver bullets. And then quite you know, because it's white and it's open, this is quite heavy and dense, and this is suddenly quite airy and like okay, now we're back to not vampire land, and there's all this shit, a courtroom, vampires in the courtroom, whatever. That's a really cool panel. Bats, quite Batman-like symbols, and then newspaper shit, vampires. It's so visually appealing, all of this. There's like that kind of shape, but it fits within the square of the page. All the information is there. There's nothing drawn that doesn't need to be drawn. That's obviously a courtroom, the hammer and the things. They're walking out of the courtroom, an angry lawyer behind them, some newspaper or something, bats. It's perfect. And again, just information in the middle of the page, and that's a good spread. It feeds through the whole thing. The tone in there, a slightly lighter tone than some of the others. Really cool contrast, open space, and then like half and half, the little go between. Really simply drawn bodies, but even with the little strokes for the material of the shirts and the little bits of shadow on the leg, it's just the perfect amount, just enough, just what you need to show what you're trying to show. And look, they're fighting a vampire, and the news is getting on the camera, but there's no vampire because he's a vampire. You can't see him on a television there. More just, these would be cool panel layouts in a regularly drawn comic, but in an Ashley Wood comic, they're verging towards being like too arty, but they're really like well drawn and well built, well put together enough that it doesn't feel like it's being pretentiously arty at all. This is cool. The light caused from the contrast between the white and the tone and the black is really cool. In some dense black area with the light behind them there and the door going down the stairs, really nicely cut out. Like there's, it's just exactly what you need to tell where they are in some kind of basement or something, without, you know, drawing like pipes and the little light hanging and a boiler and piles of boxes and shit. It's perfect, perfectly perfect. Then they find some coffins, which are again built out of these, just a handful of strokes really, and then just cutting out the tone. And there's like hot ladies with big tits in the coffins. What the fuck? And that's really nice, like three like heavy panels, and then this big open one to show them opening the coffin with the big titted vampire ladies. Whoa, really nicely shaped tits, considering, you know, they're pretty simple images, but they're really nicely done. And then they go to kill the vampires, I guess, get the stakes ready, bring it down, thunk, a nice outdoor sort of panel just to fill in the space. Skisha, no shit, what's going on? And I think the vampires end up killing the team that was sent to kill the vampires. Just so nice, man. Like, it's not just this is a comic book page, it's a really, like I say, visually appealing image. Like, without the text, that would be an amazing like print just to hang on a wall, just like, I mean, out of context, it's like, what the hell are they doing? But when you know what it is they're doing. That's the end of that one. So the next one, Fat Chance. This is a story about some guy whose wife gets fat after they're married, and he plans to kill her. He plans to kill her and then run off with this skinny chick. So it's really cool. I like the use of, A lot of this is quite straightforward, which is cool because it's a sort of an everyday tale, just like in a home, in a house or whatever, where he's mowing his lawn outside his house. I love the way he draws houses as well. Again, no rulers, doesn't need them. Just like this is what a house looks like. It's really well drawn, but really simply drawn. Again, all the information you need. Yeah, quite nothing too outrageous. Bathroom, table, bird, mirror, whatever. It's just everyday life. Chest of drawers, everyday life. Perfect panel, man. You don't need the wall with like pictures hanging on it, the door frame, anything. Just that. That's all you need. Even the pictures, they're just like blobs, but it works. So that's all happening. So he dreams of like killing her because he thinks she's a pig. This is really cool. This is where he's plotting with the skinny girl he's planning on running away with. So they're all. It's just these two drawings, copy and pasted, which can sometimes look really, really shitty. But the tone is different. So he's put the grey tone in and done that separately for each one. So there's vague differences, and they do have a different feel to them. Whereas if it was the same image, literally copy pasted, you'd notice. But like the tone here is slightly different to here. The cutouts here and here are slightly different. And it works because, again, it's mundane everyday life. So it being copy and pasted works. And that's just them talking about killing the fat bitch and running away together. These plans. Little square of cut the brake lines for the car so it crashes. But he doesn't know anything about cars. And then copy pasted again. Little panel, could hire a killer, pay with a briefcase to kill her. Big panel. But no, that wouldn't work. This idea could do this, but no. This idea could do this, but no. Really, really clever. Open, huge open pages, not even panels. And again, could help her eat herself to death, but that would take too long. Copy pasted, but the tone's done differently, but it works. Just coming up with ideas, shit you can do. He decides to make these poison chocolates to give to her. But then she's on a diet, and she actually gave the chocolates to the skinny bitch who was on her way to the airport. Oh no, so the skinny bitch he was going to run away with would end up dying, and he's stuck with his fat wife. Oh, terrible. I mean, the story itself, there's not much to illustrate almost, and I think that's why Ashley Wood's done a good job, because aside from like the scenes of him dreaming about killing her, there's not really much to show. But with these open panels, just like that, just cut into the tone. It's not even drawn. He's drawn her in the chair, and then on Photoshop, put the tone in, and then cut out the shape of him standing in the doorway, put the light on her and everything. Fucking good, man. He's smart. He's smart. And these are all like things I don't keep in mind when I'm making comics, but I try occasionally. I will think like, try to leave open spaces sometimes. Try not to use panel borders all the time. So he's got a few panel borders in here, which, they work for the story. This one, Legion of Plotters, written by Richard Matheson, who wrote Blood Sun, who wrote I Am Legend. It's about an old man who has all these annoyances throughout his day, and he becomes convinced that there's this legion of people plotting against him, and all of these annoyances are actually plants. They're all planned by this agency that's working against him. And he goes psychotic and mad and shit. So it's another sort of like everyday life, just him on the bus, a guy blowing his nose, that's an annoyance. I really like the look of the old man. Very simple, there's not much to it, but just like the thin, wide mouth and the sort of stocky square head with the glasses, like hung shoulders, very frumpy. He's working in a shoe store dealing with all that shit. I can tell you that's not a fun time. The tone, again, really sort of, that's like, it's a shoe store tone. Her trying on shoes, you get it. And then him just being fucking angry. That's cool. People annoying him in a cafe. Smokers annoying him. This bitch with a gum. That's quite a cool visual thing. Skull and everything. The tone's really, really well used. Wide open spaces, but just enough grey in there to build the scene. nighttime, so there's heavier blacks, people upstairs throwing the furniture around, throwing parties, babies crying, just pissing him off. So he starts writing down all these like annoyances, building his journal of how everyone's plotting against him. Really nice panels with panel borders, but like not too heavy on the panel borders. Again, using the tone to build them. Cool. Almost just more of the same. Really nice to like, 4 panels, but across 2 pages, nice vertical panels. That's really, really nice. 4 panels, but broken up here. And another open space where he's on the bus and he pulls out a knife, ready to attack people annoying him. Or that's his plan, and then he's actually waiting for the bus there. That's a cool little panel. And then man stabs 6 in crowded bus, shot by police as he's dead. The newspaper shows that crime scene photo. And that's all of them. Like I say, he's done other comics, but I think these are, being that they're all black and white, it shows you like the very bare bones of creating a comic book page, or the very least amount of shit you need to write a story in a comic book, to tell a story through the comic book page. Whilst, someone like Jeff Darrow comes to mind, for instance, who did Hardboiled, who's the most insanely detailed drawings you've ever seen in your life, ever. Across every page is preposterously full of details. Those comics are great, and the people who do them are amazing. But when you break it down to the bare bones of what you need to tell a story in a comic, there's no real person I've seen do it better than Ashley Wood. His sense of lighting very much helps, because that's really important, especially in horror stories where light and dark is very much a factor. His drawing skills, his composition skills, his use of black and white, definitely something to keep in mind, just like I don't.